Explore the Beatles' music in a dramatically different way. Use the Bible.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly.
The 40 years of wandering in the wilderness were almost over. Most of the people who had left Egypt had died, and thus Moses addresses a new generation, the generation that would enter Canaan and make it their home. Moses knew he would soon die as well, and thus the book of Deuteronomy was his final message to the Israelites. Moses points back to yesterday, when the Hebrews left Egypt and the problems seemed far away. But then, the many struggles in the wilderness made it seem that old issues were here to stay. But the problems had come from disobedience. The past wasn't all that easy of a game to play, but now there was a new beginning for God's people. Moses speaks as if those in the audience had seen those 40 years of history. A few were small children when they left Egypt, but for many, those early years of miracles were alive to them because parents and others had told the stories again and again. Moses says repeatedly that they were there when the great events of the past occurred. A few were, but quite a few others felt that they were there because of the stories told vividly by parents who saw those things occur. They told the stories because they showed who they were, sometimes stubborn and rebellious, and at other times overwhelmed by what God did. God had told them to tell their children those stories when they were walking down the road, when they were sitting at home, and even when writing reminders on the door frames of the house. This still takes place in many Jewish homes, where a mezuzah is attached to the doorway, a container for the Word of God. Moses repeats several times the key law for the faith, loving the Lord with all of your heart. He then says this involves loving God, obeying God, and holding tight to God. This would be the last message Moses had for his people. They had to choose between a blessing or a curse. The blessing would be a new land and God leading them day by day, if only they would obey their Lord. The curse would be to go into exile and be removed from their land, if they refuse to obey God and turn to false religions. Similar statements were made by John Winthrop, the governor of Bay Colony, as quoted by Jonathan Cahn. Thus, we have the same choices, because we too are in a covenant relationship with God. Cahn makes the case that much of our recent history is the result of ignoring the covenants with God that early American leaders made. We need to read Deuteronomy to learn the conditions of blessings and curses that may still hold true for us. We need to learn from our yesterdays, as well as the yesterdays of the early Israelites in the wilderness. We need to return to the values that God gave us in the contract with Him. It's all there in the Bible, Old Testament and New. Each of us makes decisions to obey or disobey God, and our country as a whole makes similar decisions each day.